All right, hi there everyone. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down and analyzing the last short that I did. This is the Bluecoats 2025 encore arrangement of Welcome to the Black Parade by My Chemical Romance. This video is a first where I'm going to analyze and explain why I conduct and do the things that I do in the shorts. This will hopefully give you a better idea of how I'm approaching and hearing the music and then translating that to gesture. And so hopefully that will help you do the same with the music that you're conducting. Again, my goal for this channel is to help you become musical conductors, not just human mets and timekeepers. Now, a quick note for this video, and a lot of the drum corps stuff I do is that unless I can find a score on like MuseScore or a YouTube video, I'm doing all this by ear. I didn't have a score in front of me, so just know I may not be 100% correct and accurate on everything. With your rehearsals in front of your ensembles, do not do this. Do as I say, not as I do. Okay? Make sure you have the score to reference. The one exception is if you're a professional conductor and you have the entire score memorized and here in your head. But if you're watching this probably isn't you, so have the score. With that said, here we go. I'll play the video and then I'll stop and comment as I feel necessary. Okay, so these first four measures I'm conducting in small legato pattern with just my right hand. Two reasons I'm doing this. One, out of the entire ensemble, only the synth is playing. So dynamically and relative to the size of the ensemble that's playing, it's very small compared to like later when everybody's in, okay? Secondly, the style the synth is playing the notes is more or less legato. It's as connected as keyboard instruments can naturally sustain them. So those two reasons alone, conducting small legato, just one hand is needed. So something that's informing how I conducted these first four measures is the rhythm of the melody. So if we were to just dictate the melody, we have 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3. So it's only quarter notes and half notes. And the commonality with all four measures is that there's no movement on beat 2. Because of this, I'm not moving to beat 2 right away. And this is causing me to make my count 2 more of an active prep that is allowing for emphasis on beat 3 when the melody does move. So I wanted to put emphasis on beats 1, 3, and 4, making those beats more active because that's when the melody is moving. To show you what I mean, here's a side-by-side comparison of me conducting the first four measures legato as I would say with like a metronome. I really want you to watch for the difference going into and out of count 2. So hopefully that makes sense and you can see the difference. Okay, so now going into this measure is the trombone solo. The solo comes in on the and of 4 and leads into the downbeat of 1. So as you can see here, there are several things that I'm doing to cue this entrance. One is that I am now utilizing my left hand to cue. Two, along with that, I'm using my head to reinforce that. Okay, three is that I'm turning my body toward the soloist to acknowledge him. And then four is that I am raising my conducting plane. So something to remember just really quickly is that there are two parts to every cue. The first is the prep, the second is the cue itself. So generally the prep happens the beat before the entrance, and then the cue happens on the entrance on that beat. So in this case, the prep is on count 3 and the entrance is on count 4. So everything I just mentioned is part of the prep happens on count 3. Okay, then on count 4, we have the cue itself. Now, I know technically the entrance is on the and of 4, but we can still cue it as if it's on the downbeat of 4. So the last thing I want to explain for this entrance is why I raised my conducting plane. I think utilizing my left hand to prep and to cue the entrance, as well as turning my body and using my head makes sense. However, maybe raising my plane is not as obvious. So the reason that I raised the conducting plane for this entrance and really for any entrance is because we communicate and acknowledge the entrance with our face, particularly our eyes. Like think about when you're actually playing in an ensemble, when you watch the conductor, you're usually looking at his or her face when you have an entrance. And if you actually think about any interaction you have with anybody, even if you're just talking to someone, the interaction you have is always with their face. It's with your eyes, right? Your eyes meet their eyes. So I raise my conducting plane so that my eyes are in line with my eyes and the soloist's eyes. There's a bit of a disconnect if I'm cueing and conducting down here. Yeah, the soloist doesn't know what to look at. Do I look at my eyes or do I look at my hands? So yeah, raising my conducting plane along with using my left hand, turning my body, and the head nod really makes it crystal clear to the soloist that he is in the right place in the music and that his entrance is now. So during these three measures, it's just the trombone and the synth. It's still a very small ensemble compared to what's to come, so I'm still keeping it very small and legato style. Then we have the baritone, the euphonium entrance. And just like I did with the trombone solo, we're going to prep and cue. In this case, the prep is on count 4, the cue on count 1. And much in the same way that I did with the trombone solo, raise my conducting plane, turn toward the youths, utilize my left hand, and did the head nod. Now, something to remember is that how you cue the entrance matters. The cue with your hands should be in the style that you want the entrance to be played and articulated. So in this case, with the euphoniums, it's a very gentle entrance, and then their line is legato. So that's what I am trying to show with that. So then over the course of the measure, I turn from the youths to cue the trumpet solo that comes in on count 4. Now I know it's backwards and usually the euphoniums are on the right and the trumpets are on the left, so I apologize. Just know that that turn is intentional to just signify, okay, the entrance is to turn my body to acknowledge the entrance. Now, another thing to note is that I know that the tubas come in with this run that kind of goes down, and this happens on count 4 as well. And as much as I love that, and I think it's really cool, it just kind of like fills the air and deepens the sound. Because the trumpet is the melodic line, and to me as a conductor, that's the primary line, that takes priority, and so I'm going to turn and conduct the trumpet. With situations like this, as a conductor, you're going to have to figure out and decide which section or which voice takes priority, and that's how you choose who you're going to conduct, or rather, what line you're going to conduct. Okay, now throughout the first 10 measures, I've been conducting in a legato style to match the style of how the ensemble is playing the music. So this changes with the count 4 prep for the snare drum entrance on the downbeat of the next measure. This is because the entrance gives the piece more of a march feel. If you think Sousa or just marches in general, the articulation is generally very light and the notes are played staccato. short and separated. So because of the stylistic change that the snare drum brings, my conducting gesture changes to more of a staccato style to match this. Staccato meaning more quick attacks to the beat, quick rebounds off the beat. This creates a slight pause or drag with my hand in between the beats. And again, the stylistic change happens on beat 4 because for the entrance, we want to make sure that we show the style and articulation of how we want it to be played before it happens. Okay, so along with the change in style, I also begin to conduct in a focal point pattern. This is where all of my beats are now in the same place and the off beats move, yeah? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So this complements the staccato style pattern and allows me to be more precise with the placement of my beat because of the vertical motion I am now adding in between the beats. So the percussion come in, and then these two measures are just gradually building up to this full 2T section. And so to show this, I've now started using both of my hands and mirror conducting and just growing in size to show the dynamic and the full ensemble sound. So again, before it was just the soloist, so we could conduct small with just one hand, but now it's the full power of the entire ensemble. And to show that, I want to conduct big using both of my hands. Okay, now in this 2T section, there are three things that I am doing. So one is I'm changing back to a multi-point style of conducting. That's where 1, 2, 3, 4. That's where all the beats are now in a different place. 2, I am now raising my conducting plane again so that my pattern is more up here. And then 3, stylistically, I'm conducting this in an accented or kind of a marcato style. So in terms of the speed of my motions, they are quick. They're quick attacks to the beat and no rebound, with the exception of beat 1, where there's a quick rebound off the beat. What this does is creates moments of pause or drag in my hands, depending on the count. Okay, so here's why I did these 3 things for this section. So for one, I changed back to a multi-point style of conducting because there's no need for the focal point anymore. If you listen to the lines, there's no need for the vertical motion in between beats 2 and 3. Vertical motion between the beats is usually either to show style, motion in terms of if there are like inner moving lines, or usually to help with something like syncopation. With this section, there's not really any of that, and all the pickups are leading into the next beat. So what's more important are the downbeats themselves, not the pickups. Also, in these measures, if we listen to what's going on rhythmically on beat 3, for each measure, it's like a quarter note, dotted quarter, or half note. So melodically, there's no reason for any sort of subdivision, which the focal point uses. Like, there's no reason for me to need to show the 3 and. And so the multi-point conducting pattern focuses on the downbeats. And so that's why I'm just using this instead of Okay, so two, the reason that I raise my conducting plane is to help with the marcato style. So you can think of the marcato style similar to the staccato style from earlier, the difference being the size of the gesture. For staccato, the size of the gesture is smaller, marcato, it's bigger. And since everyone is playing in this tutti section, I'm making the gestures bigger. To make my gestures bigger, I need to expand out on all of the beats, especially three, especially four. Now, because my four is higher, the amount of space my hands need to travel is greater, right? So if my conducting plane is here for my one, the amount of space my hands need to travel for four here versus here is more, right? It's like this versus like this. So part of raising my conducting plane is to help with the amount of space that I need to move. So the amount of space that I'm moving between like here and here is about the same. The only difference being the height. And again, this is because I am now opening up my conducting box, my three and on the four. Okay, so I hope that kind of makes sense. And then the other reason why I raise my conducting plane is because the trumpets are carrying the melody. If we think of the full range of the brass sound, they're up here, whereas like the contras are down here, mellows here, euphonium, baritone here. So with me conducting up here, it matches the trumpets being higher in that range of sound. So conducting lower like this, down here is more of a lower sound that I want and that I'm prioritizing. Anyway, that's all I have for this video. I really do hope that you found this helpful. Music is all about patterns, and really the toolbox of what we do as conductors is actually pretty limited. So after a while, you'll begin to see that a lot of the things that I do and a lot of the things that you'll do with your gesture may be the same or similar from one piece to another. Now, if you found this helpful or you have any thoughts, please share them in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. With that said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.